Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Hilda, Content Manager here at the DEO, and thank you so much for joining us. Today, we're talking about AI. It's something we all keep hearing about, but it can feel unclear what it actually means for your dental team. And that's why we put this session together. You'll get a clear look at what AI really is, how it's already showing up in practices, and what steps you can take to get your team ready. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Laura, who is our speaker, to share a little bit about herself and kick off her presentation.
I'm super excited that you are here. And my name is Laura Nelson. If I haven't gotten a chance to meet you yet or seen you at a dental conference, nice to meet you. And I'm excited today to talk about the latest and greatest thing going on in our industry and everywhere in our life, which is brushing up on AI or the discussion of artificial intelligence in our lives and in our practices, because this is something that if you haven't heard about it, you've been living under a rock. It's something that everyone's talking about: pros, cons, good, bad, ugly, all of the things. And it's something that I am excited about. And I'm excited to share with you where I think it's going in our industry, and then where you can start to implement things now, and then just some considerations of where it might not be awesome or great yet. So, my biggest thing is I am all about the teams. And so I have this transforming dental teams because I have been in our industry for 15, 20 years now. Again, my name is Laura and I'm the founder of Front Office Rocks. So if you're not aware of Front Office Rocks, it's an online team training website that has training from very first day an employee starts with you all the way through as they grow in the practice and take on more responsibilities. I have been doing this for quite a while. I've had the opportunity to grow the Front Office Rocks. I've had an opportunity to partner with other companies on it. I'm now a speaker. I run around the country and speak, which is where I might have met you in the past potentially, or one of your team members. And I'm all about the teams because when I got into our industry, I was married to a dentist. I'm no longer married to the dentist. I say I'm a recovering dental spouse. But I know that all of our dental friends that went through dental school didn't learn anything about how to run the practice or very little. Then they opened the practice and they were struggling. And many times, as they were struggling or trying to fix things or implement things, the thing that I felt was missing was that we're not training our team members well, that we're not really investing in the teams. And as you are growing your practices from 1 to 3 to 10 to 100, that is still the same issue, is that we don't spend and honor enough time of really helping our team members get good at what they do. Remember to cross train them so they can help each other out, to remember to grow in their positions. So, Front Office Rocks is how I've been growing and helping our industry until most recently, which is why I'm here with you today. In the last 2 years, I have really jumped deep into AI, and I think AI is going to be a game changer for our industry, which I'll talk about in this next hour. But most recently, I've come on now as the Vice President of AI for Mango Voice. And that is why I'm here with you today, because Mango Voice is an amazing phone VoIP system, but they have jumped into the AI game. And I love Mango. I'm a huge fan of Mango and now have the opportunity to help train and grow AI in our industry. So, I do want to mention at the end of this, there'll be a QR code where you can get a giveaway from me. So make sure that you get to the end, get your phones out and scan the QR code. But I have 50 AI tools that you should know about. And I have it 2025 because this is changing every day. There is new stuff every day. In fact, I do a weekly call with people just to talk about AI and things we're using in our lives and how to do different things. And it changes all the time. So, staying abreast with AI, knowing that it's growing so fast is going to already put you ahead of anybody who's not here listening to this webinar today. So the one thing I can say, no matter if your practice is 3 locations, 30 locations, is that the one thing that we have the same issue with across the board in all of our practices is that we never have enough time. It is the rarest commodity that we have in the dental office. And literally, it has become such a cultural thing that we're always so busy. Everyone's busy. The team's busy, and there's always a million things to do. And there's always reports and lists and patients we can call and insurances we can follow up on and all of the things that we have become an industry of being busy and not having enough time. And that is really consistent across every practice. And it was one of the reasons I'm most excited about AI because I didn't have a solution to that except for teaching our team members how to be more efficient, except for working with softwares that can help us become more efficient until we've come to AI. And I really think that AI is going to change our industry with regards to giving us more time back in the day. And one of the concerns with that for your team members is going to be, well, if I get everything done during the day, how do I have job security? Like, what do I do? Which is what we're going to talk about here. So, my hope with is in your practices that I can show you ways that right now you can give more team back or time back to your team, but then also as things grow and evolve to help your team move with this change because change is hard for many people. And what we are doing is really changing the way our practices operate. So everybody's at a different level when it comes to AI. And so one thing I want to start with is let's get to the same level of what we should know about AI. I'm going to go back and I'm going to kind of talk about the history of AI because it's really not new. It's just we're new talking about it newer now. And then we're going to talk about how to implement it in the practice. So the very first thing we should know is and talk about is it's here. It's already here. It's not a futuristic hype. It's tools that we are using every day, understanding how to look at it from the big picture of like where it's going to fit into our workload, how we're going to help our team members reduce fear around it because there is going to be some fear in some cases. And then how do we get our team members and ourselves to be confident with AI? The other thing is you don't have to be tech savvy to know how to work with AI. It's easy. That's part of the reason why we're talking about AI so much now. And that you might feel like you're behind, but you're not. You're already embracing AI now is positioned you great now for yourself, for your team, for your practices. And as it evolves, it's going to evolve faster and faster. So you're already staying ahead of the competition. So, like I talked about with not having enough time, and our team members are always so time, the issue are always so busy. The issue is that our when we have so much to do, when I have piles of paperwork that, EOBs I have to scan, or insurance companies that I have to call, or patients that I have to call, that kind of feels like job security, right? So our employees think I can't be replaced because they need me to do these things. And when we start to look at AI, one of the concerns is that AI will replace people. And AI is not here to replace people. What AI is here to do is to enhance productivity, to streamline our tasks, and to support decision-making capabilities. And if you've already started working with ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity, you see that. However, our team members, our employees might be concerned that they're going to be replaced. And yeah, there's a bunch of clickbait news out there that right now talks about how jobs are going to be lost because of AI. And that is true. Just like when automobiles came out, jobs were lost in the horse and buggy industry. But how many jobs were made because of automobiles? So there is going to be a transition in all industries with AI. But the one thing I can say is that it's not here to replace employees unless people don't embrace AI. So a year or two or three from now, if I'm going to hire somebody for a position in my dental practice, and I have one person who doesn't work with AI, who doesn't like AI, they just don't use it, and it takes them 2 hours to do a task, that I can hire somebody over here that does embrace AI and they could do it in 5 minutes. There's going to be a point where I'm going to have to replace the employees that don't use AI. There's going to be a time when patients aren't going to come to practices that don't use AI. So, yes, there's going to be some replacement happening, but it's not going to be because of AI. It's going to be because humans pushed back or didn't implement or didn't start working with AI. So it's not here to replace people, it's here to replace tasks. And I say that to you now because you might be watching this thinking, I already know that. But I can guarantee you have some employees on your team that are worried about this. So the first thing I would say is if you're talking to your employees or you're talking to patients or we're just as yourself, if you're here going, I don't know, Laura, I'm not sure I'm okay with this AI thing. Part of that is because our subconscious doesn't like change. We as humans like things to be the same. And what I want to kind of point out here is that change can seem hard, but not always. And change isn't always bad. And we've been through change. I mean, do you guys remember music on record players? Now, again, the record players are back in with the young kids, right? But that's how music was first played. Then we've got the 8-track tape. Then this used to be our playlist. Do you remember? You could like record songs and carry it around with you. Then we went to DVDs, and now look what we have. So there's a place for records still, but there's also Spotify where I could be at an airport and hear a song that I like on the radio and download the entire album and listen to it on that plane ride that I'm going on. So like we've already been through change. This is just one example of change. And yeah, you could say, music's better on a record, and I'm not going to disagree with that, but it's also convenient to have it on our phone. We've also seen change in the dental office. So this is for us to kind of see like we're seeing change coming at us with AI, but we've already kind of been through it. Like I said, I've been in dentistry for, 10, 15, 20 years. I don't want to say the exact number, but I started in dentistry when this is what the front desk looked like. I mean, we just had PCs when I got into dentistry, but besides just the schedule, we really didn't do much on computers. I mean, you've probably been in dentistry for a minute, right? Maybe not dark rooms, but this is what x-ray room, we used to do x-rays in a dark room, then we'd go behind the wall, and now look at how we do x-rays. So this is a technology, like we've been here to see these changes. If you work at the front office, I mean, you maybe were here. I learned from the best of the best, Linda Miles and Lois Banta, how to send claims in an envelope. My 23-year-old doesn't even know how to write an envelope anymore, right? Everything's electronic. Now we can get updates on our software system like that. Back in the day, I used to have to do floppy disks. If you don't know what that is, if you're younger, go look it up. But literally once a month, we would get from Dentrix the floppy disk, and you'd have to put it in the computer in order to do the update. So again, part of this is for me to kind of set the stage that we are talking about a new technology. We're talking about change. It's scary for many. It's hard, but if you look back, we've done it before. We've gone from this, charts to paperless, which I think is funny because we have more paper than ever. But we've been through change, right? Now here, besides the technologies thing, or the technology side of change. The next thing I want to talk about is more change that we've seen in the last 10, 15 years, which is business meeting dental, right? We have DSOs, we have group practices, and this has been a big change in our industry. And I coached a lot of and spoke to a lot of team members about this because what happened when we had so much business coming into our industry is that we had dental professionals who knew how to do dental things, right? Insurance coordination, answering phones, scheduling patients. And then we had business come in and teach us business operations, which is why you're here, which is why the DEO is here, right? Is to help us scale and grow our businesses. But there's a balance of both of those things. And I like to think of it like a sailboat. In order for practices to do better and grow, in order to go from 5 to 10 and 10 to 15, you need a balance of both of those because we could all be about the numbers, all about the numbers, all about business, all about the bottom line. But the issue with that is like a sailboat, if we're all about business and we forget about patient care, understanding insurances, understanding how dental offices operate, our boat is going to capsize this way because we're going to have employees leave and we're going to have patients leave. But on the other side, if we are only thinking dental the way dental box thinking is, the way it's all about what if the insurance will cover it, we need to file pre-authorization, give the patient a discount. If we do too much on the dental side and we're not focused on the numbers, our boat's going to capsize this way because we're going to be out of jobs. We're not going to have practices that run. So there's a balance of both. And the corporate, the DSOs, the business people that have come into our industry have taught us things that we really needed in the dental industry to be smarter, to grow better, to grow our practices. But also, we can't just be all business because we have these amazing team members who have dental wisdom that we need to make sure we continue to do that because we continue to lean into them because every practice besides a time issue also has a backdoor problem. Every practice has issues where patients are leaving and we don't know why they're leaving, or we're not tracking it. We're not looking at the numbers. If we're just focused on the patients coming in the front door and not really paying attention to the numbers, we don't know what's going on. So we're at this great time where we have learned and grown so much in our industry. I mean, learning and going to like conferences about, EBITDA and P&Ls and numbers and reports and the statistics and the metrics we have is awesome. But we also can't forget about dental wisdom and that our patients expect more when they come into our practices, and that's where the humans come in. And so, how can we use AI now and in the future to help with this issue? Because majority of the practices, the average growth in a dental office in the United States is a 9% loss, which means you're losing more patients out of the back door than you're gaining in the front door. So, my 2 cents on that is I believe the reason we have a backdoor problem is that our systems are broken or we're not offering our patients customer service or the combination of both. Our team members are so busy, right? We're all so busy that we don't run our systems well. And we're not giving our patients a great customer service because we have all of these things that are in front of us that we've got to do. So I'm a big advocate of training your team members on the importance of the systems and the customer service, and also finding ways to make our systems run better and having our team members to have more time to give our patients great customer service. And it's not even a thing of like, this would be nice. This would be good for our team. This would be good for our practice. It's also what the patients are going to want. Patients want speed and consistency. Patients want the ability to work with your practice. And it doesn't matter how amazing your team is, how awesome your practice is. If it gets too hard to work with your practice, they're going to go somewhere else. If they can't schedule online, if they can't reach somebody to handle their problem at 10 at night or talk to something or someone over the weekend, eventually they're going to go to the practice that does offer that technology. So there's multiple reasons here to embrace AI, to start to think about AI helping us in the practice because our team doesn't have enough time. We see the issue in the numbers of the systems that we're not running well and that our patients are going to be expecting it. So, why are we even talking about AI now? Why is this like it kind of seems like it came out of nowhere since 2020? And that's literally because of a few companies that you could name right now, Pearl, Overjet, all of the different X-ray AI companies that are out there, because it's clinical. Doctors like clinical stuff. Doctors like to, how can I give better dentistry, more dentistry? And this makes sense to a dentist. So when it comes to production and delivery, AI makes a lot of sense. But here's the thing, artificial intelligence isn't just in our radiographs. It's a great thing to have in our radiographs, which I'm going to explain in a little bit as to why. But there's also way more, a lot more other AI that's coming in our industry or is already here. So I've kind of talked about we've been through change, right? We can see change in the past. We've gone from dark rooms to digital x-rays. We've gone from paperless to e-claims, all of the things. But now we also have to look at like artificial intelligence isn't new. This isn't something that just 2020 all of a sudden, somebody drafted or came up with this idea. It's been going on for 70 plus years. So throughout this presentation, I made most of the pictures with AI. And so I went to AI and I said, give me a traveling machine for the dental industry. So this is the time traveling tooth machine. And I'm going to take us back to where AI started because I want, if you're not aware of this or not confident in AI and not really sure why we're even talking about it now, I think it's important that you have the knowledge. So again, AI generated images. I just love the outfits and all of these, but we're going to go back to the 50s and 60s in our time machine. And in the 50s, that's really when we started talking about AI. I mean, 1950, Alan Turing was the first one who thought about machines being able to work. And in 56, artificial intelligence was coined as a word. So since the 50s, there's been people and organizations and engineers and computer people all working towards where we are today. And in fact, in the 60s, there became the first thinking machine where we showed that a machine could learn, where it started to recognize speech patterns, right? It's the pioneering of machine learning. And in the late 60s, easy, simple tasks like thermostats turning on and off or eliminating echoes on phones. Now, again, most of this was happening behind the scenes. Like most humans, unless you geek out on this kind of stuff, weren't really involved or knowledgeable about these. But then we get to the 70s and 80s. And the 70s and 80s, some of you may remember, I still remember in school the first time somebody used a computer and they wrote a song and the computer sang a little bit of a song that was on the radio, and I was like, what is that, right? This is when we could really start to train the computers to perform basic logic tasks where we could give it a rule and excuse me, give it a rule and it could follow those rules. And even in healthcare, this is where computers started to explore computer assisted diagnosis. So this is where we started, or I shouldn't say we, I was, a youngin' and not doing this, but where the programming really started to make a difference towards AI. And then we hit the 80s and 90s. And I have to say, this girl's hair in the blonde is rocking it. I love it. That's what my hair looked like back in the day. But this is when we hit the AI winter. Okay. This is when AI really started to slow down. And really, it was because the funding dried up. There was overhype and under delivery. Lots of people talking about how great it was going to be, and it really didn't deliver the big things that it was supposed to do. There was limited computing power. So you hear now about AI and how we need so much energy and computing power to run it. We didn't have it in the 80s and 90s. And then really honestly, real world performance, like for the real world, besides labs and places that have big computers, it really couldn't be used. Now, the reason I bring this up right now is because why does this matter now, this AI winter? AI winter reminds us that overpromising can hurt innovation. We have in our industry right now a lot of companies that are coming in promising so many things. Computers, AI is going to do this and that, and all of the things, which I'm not disagreeing that it can do or will be able to do a lot of that eventually, but it can't do it right now. And so what we need to do is make sure that we're doing more realistic, focused, practical applications in our practices. Because we've learned from the past, if we overhype it and we over lean on it and we overuse it, that it's not ready yet. It's not ready yet. There are parts of it that are ready, but it's not 100% ready. So I wanted to kind of just point out this time we're going to show in a minute how we got to where we are now, but this was a big part of the overhype, overpromising. And I say the same thing for you and your teams. Like we don't want to overhype it, we don't want to overpromise it because it really is going to hurt the motivation to use it in the practice. Okay, so let's move to the rest of the 90s. So instead of teaching the computer rules, they taught it how to learn from data. And that's a big part of AI now, right? That we focus the shift from learning from the brain, from learning to learning from data. AI now has read the internet. That's a massive amount of data. So now machine learning can start to do things like spam filters when we got spam filters in our emails, or search engines got smarter. Our banks were able to detect fraud. So this is where giving the computer the computers, the machines, the data that it needs, it could learn from the data versus being the if then scenario. And so this didn't just happen in everyday world. This happened in dentistry. I mean, think of the last, 30 years. I mean, digital x-rays, our patient management software. When I first started, we had a computer that had the schedule on it. That's it. Now we've got everything in our PMS, or mostly everything. CAD CAM, like these are just some of the digital revolution we've seen in dentistry during this time frame. And then now we're up to more modern day. So let's talk about modern day technology. If you were to, and you feel free to do this, to pause it if you haven't done it yet. You might have done this in the past, but if you were to go into your cell phone, I have my cell phone right here, and I go into the phone, to the pictures app, and I pull my pictures up. On the top right, you can, or depending on if you're Android or Apple, you can do search, and you can search a word in your phone. So in the case of search the word dog, and if you haven't done this, try it. It's really fun. Search the word dog, and you're going to get all the pictures in your phone that have a picture of a dog. Now, when you've done this, or if you do this now, you're going to see out of thousands of pictures that you had 72 pictures of dogs. There are so many variations of dogs, so many breeds of dogs, right? So to be able to train AI to know what is a dog, and every brown, black, yellow, big, short, big nose, little nose, that's a lot of data. When you look at your search also, you might see that you also have one where it says dog on a wall behind you. That's dog, right? So it's not a dog, but it's actually, do you see how it could see that that picture should be brought into the search because the word dog is behind you? You also might see, sometimes people see a picture of a pig or a cow or a cat. Now, it's not a dog, but could you see how it thought I should put this into the search because it potentially is a dog, or it's potentially like a dog, right? Because there's so much data here that it's narrowing it down. And is it 100% correct? No. But is it 95% correct? Yes. And you now, as the human, can decide this is all correct, this one's not correct, right? Because it's learning, it's growing by data. So I point this out because now when we talk about AI and the clinical and x-rays, that in the 2010s, this deep learning, this ability for AI to start to recognize patterns in data is how we got to places like this, right? We go through TSA now, and it can assess and let the TSA agent know if there's anything to worry about. Now, do you ever walk through the x-ray unit and they pull you to a side and they're like, we need to pat right here on your hip, or we need to pat back here on your shoulder? It's not 100% correct, but it's fast, and it gives them, hey, here's something that you potentially should look at. Now, it takes the human to go, oh, no, that's fine. That's just whatever that's in your shirt or on your shoes. But this is deep learning. This is AI. This is data that's been given for us to be able to have, security that we need to analyze before going onto a plane. So it's the same thing with our radiographs. And the reason that it's so great for radiographs, and that I think it's going to be the standard of care, and if you haven't already implemented this in your practice, I highly recommend that you do. I'm a huge fan of Pearl, which I've gone through and done all of the training with them to see the benefits of this in a practice. And here's how AI reads radiographs, or why it's better, not better, but a second opinion, which is what they call it, for your radiographs. First of all, it's more images reviewed, more pattern recognition. So it learns as it grows. It's generative AI. It's more data. It's going to learn more. So think of it like a dental student reviewing thousands of x-rays. I mean, if you're a dentist or new in your job, remember in the beginning, like you probably weren't as good as you are now because you've had the experience, you've had the time to learn, you've had the time to grow. That's the same with AI. The other thing is that the human eye can only see up to around a really well-trained human eye can see up to 100 shades of gray, but AI can detect up to 65,000 shades of gray. So that alone will help to determine and catch things potentially that the human eye couldn't see. The other thing is we make thousands of decisions every day. From the moment we get up to say, do we want cream in our coffee? Do I drive left or right to go to the office today? Do I tell this employee this or wait till tomorrow? Is this a cavity or not? Do I tell this patient about the crown? By the end of the day, we can get kind of tired of that. We can be distracted. We make decisions because we're being interrupted. Does that ever happen in a dental office? We could be influenced by bias. Like this patient said last time when I told her she needed a crown, she started to cry. So I'm not sure I want to tell her again. AI doesn't do that. AI is consistent every time. AI doesn't get tired reviewing x-rays. AI also doesn't get distracted, right? And it can review x-rays in seconds, just supporting clinical decisions. It's not replacing the human, but it's here to be a second opinion. And on top of that, when it comes to case acceptance, it's color coded. It makes it easier for patients to see. So if you're looking to improve case acceptance in your one, two, or many practices, this is going to help. I know I've sat in lots and lots and lots of consultations, and doctors are talking about a tooth on the upper left and the patient's running their tongue around the tooth on the lower right, right? We're not even talking the same language. So having one more tool in our tool belt, one more thing to be able to help patients understand treatment and accept treatment is priceless. And on top of that, there's all these other potential reasons for it. So I believe that AI will be the essential utility in our dental field within the next 5 years. So now let's talk about why it's so prevalent now. One is voice AI. So I thought this was crazy. When I did this, I was like, I can't believe that we've had the first one around since 2011. And I'm not going to say her name because she's sitting right here, right? But we've been talking to things since 2011. So now, was this way worse then than it is now? Absolutely, right? The technology's gotten better, more data, it's learned, but look at how long we've had conversations with AI. So why now? What is it that's going on right now? Well, we are in a light bulb moment. And what that means is it's like when we got electricity. So when electricity was invented, I don't have to know how electricity works. When they connected it to a light switch or to a switch on your lamp, that gave electricity to everybody. Anybody who had access to it can now just turn on the light. So when I turn on the light in my office, I don't have to know how that filter works or that filament or whatever it's called and all. I just have to know when I turn it on, there's electricity. That's the exact same thing going on now with AI for everyone. With the large language model, the ability to communicate with AI, we now have the ability to have AI in the fingertips of everybody because we don't have to understand those engineer things in the past. We don't have to understand the coding. We don't have to understand the operations that happen in the back. We just need to know I can ask a question, I can type something in ChatGPT, I can talk to this, and I'm going to get the answer that I need, or at least start the conversation, right? So we are at a light bulb moment because this is the time when everybody, without having to have any technology experience, not be techie, to have access to AI. So, what problems can AI solve today? So, again, this changes by the day, almost by the week, by the month. It's growing so fast. AI is the fastest growing technology. So, all of the things I showed in the past that we transitioned through probably were a lot longer than what we're about to transition through. But again, just like during the AI winter, there's lots of companies who are promising us it's going to do all these amazing things. It's going to solve so many things in our practice, which I'm not saying it won't do, but right now where do we want to solve the problems? What can we use AI for? And I actually went to AI. I was like, give me a picture of, instead of promising, to raise the roof in our practice, let's just instead figure out where we're dropping the balls, right? Like where we're, and so this is a dental office dropping balls, right? So, and I think it's a funny picture, but this is what happens all the time. Our team is too busy. They don't have enough time. They're not trained well, and we drop balls all the time for our patients, and our patients are leaving because we're not following our systems well and we're not giving them amazing customer service. So, starting to recognize where AI could help in these areas will start to make an impact to close your back door a little bit. Over time, as we get more technology, as we get more in there, we can close the door even more. But let me give an example right now of why I'm a huge fan of Mango and an example of where we dropped the ball. So I've been teaching for 15, 20 years to dental professionals. When you're on the phone with a patient, when you hang up with that patient, put your notes in the chart. I'm sure you've all heard this, right? So every conversation with a patient or every important conversation, we put notes in the chart. But what happens when I'm sitting at the front desk? I hang up, there's a patient waiting for me. The doctor wants to know where their patient is. The hygienist wants to know if fluoride's covered. The phone rings again. And most of the time, I don't put the notes in, or I put the notes in and they're like kind of haphazard, like talk to patient, they said yes, right? So then we have patients who are complaining that somebody told them something that we don't know who said it, or they didn't get told something, or whatever did they call, did they confirm? We don't know. Mango AI, Mango is a phone system, a VoIP phone system, which is traditional phone systems in our practices. But Mango turned on this one feature that changed our industry for anyone who's a Mango client. They turned on Mango AI Notes. Basically, what it is when I hang up now, the notes are summarized and put right into the practice management software in most softwares. So I now don't have to worry about going and putting those notes in. Plus, no phone calls get missed. And we have a sentiment analysis in there so that not only are we tracking what's happening on our phones, but we can also pay attention to how the calls are going. Because not all calls are equal, right? Some of our team members may need to be a little bit better on some of the training. Maybe we have some rock star employees that we want to spotlight. Like, how do we handle those calls? Because just answering the phone isn't necessarily the solution. We also want to know how are we doing on the calls. So this to me was one ball right there that we dropped that AI can just handle it and we don't have to think twice about it. So I started with Mango because my role is to help grow AI within Mango. And one of the next things we have now is a Mango AI agent called Margot, Margot by Mango. And Margot can now answer the calls, overflow and weekend calls. So things when your team can't get to it or nights and weekends, Margot can answer the calls, talk to the employee or talk to the patient and then send the notes back to the office so that a patient can get taken care of. So one of the things I'm going to call right now, we have Margot, who is awesome, but I also, in the middle of playing around with this, made Migraine. So I'm going to try to call Migraine here. I hope that you can hear her. And the reason I'm calling Migraine is, first of all, she's really freaking funny. And then second of all, not everybody's had a chance to talk to an AI agent before. And I want you to hear this conversation because this is not a recording. This is not push button, push one for this, push two for that. This is actually an AI receptionist handling my call for me. Plus, she's pretty darn funny. So let's give her a call. She is what most people would like to say to the patients. Dental office does your flossing habits and your life choices. This is Migraine speaking. How can I possibly help you today? Hi, Migraine. I'm wondering if you're accepting new patients. You the one who takes the dentist within the first 5 minutes. So are you one of those or should I brace myself? Well, I don't really love the dentist, but I still need an appointment. Well, as long as you don't scream, I hate it here, the moment you walk in, we'll survive. What kind of appointment are you looking to book? Oh, yeah. Well, I don't actually floss, so maybe that's part of what the appointment. Don't worry, the hygienist So I'm not going to continue this phone call with her. I actually have Margot's number here for you. So if you want to call Margot yourself, Margot is our real receptionist. Migraine is her alter ego that I use when I'm speaking because I think she's so funny. And it's just literally what we would love to say to our patients that we can't. But my point in doing that is besides having a little humor in this webinar, but also just to show you that I can say anything to her and she's going to give me some sort of a response, and it's not a recording, it's a conversation. And so this is another area where we're missing. I mean, 30% of dental or calls, there's 30% of your calls to your dental office are missed on average. So why not allow AI to at least also grab that ball? Because the reality is we are busy in the front, right? For me, one of the things I've been teaching for a long, long time is there's the situation that happens all the time where I have a patient standing in front of me and the phone rings. Well, who's more important? Do I handle the patient in front of me? Do I answer the phone? And how do I handle that? And not all of our employees are great at this scenario, right? So do I let it go to voicemail? Now we could outsource it. You could send it to a call center, of course. You could send it to a third party, but what else could we do with this? Well, you know what we could do is I could now train Margot or trust Margot to handle that call for me because then I can focus on the patient in front of me. So what we're looking to do is instead of focusing on what we don't have enough time to do, instead what we want to do is start to figure out how I can clone myself, how I can build my own AI dream team to do the things that I want to make sure get done well. I can monitor it, but I don't have to do it all. AI can do it. So, where do you decide what's an AI task versus what's a human task? Okay. So, AI tasks are things that are repetitive, things that are data driven, things that are rule based. So, for example, answering phones. We have trained AI how to answer the phones, to answer FAQs, to handle questions patients have, and then to forward it to the human to do things that the human needs to do for that patient, sending reminders, processing claims, drafting templates, analyzing data. If it's repetitive and it's predictable or heavy with data, you go to AI. Humans need to focus on relationship driven things, emotional things, judgment based things. For example, calming down a nervous patient, discussing treatment options, building trust, handling complex insurance exceptions, or dealing with patients with big treatment plans. If it requires empathy, judgment, and nuance, then you want to lean on the human. So, what I have done and what I have here is I have kind of taken this because this is 1 hour with you, but there's a lot more to consider. So I've actually put this in a book and I've written the book for you if you're interested on how to implement AI in your practice. How do you talk to your team members about it? Maybe give it to your team members. And there are things in there like how do you actually communicate with AI? How do you know which AI to work with? How do you know which companies to work with? And how do you prompt the right questions? So this is all made for you to help you in growing your individual practice, your overall practice, or your AI strategy for your practices. And on top of that, if you are familiar with ChatGPT, there is a thing called custom GPTs. If you go and find the custom GPT, you can also find Brush Up on AI dental office implementation. And this is made by me, supported by all the different things, the HIPAA, ADA, all of the Brush Up on AI book that I have to start a conversation with you to help you with where you are in implementing in your practice. So those are resources that I have for you if that helps you after this webinar to continue your discovery of how AI can work in your practices. So lastly, let me just make a couple other suggestions when it comes to implementing AI, because these are sort of red flags, warnings, things that I want you to think about as you're designing and structuring your AI implementation plan. And the first is protecting privacy before you prompt. So we still have to be conscious of HIPAA and privacy rules. We have to be conscious of what our team members are using AI for and where we can put information and where we can't. So really making sure that you have a privacy plan, that your team is trained. I have heard stories of people saying they go to ChatGPT and put patient information in there. You don't want to do that, right? That is not protected place to do this or put patient information. You can use ChatGPT to ask it to help you write narratives. You can ask it to help you handle an angry patient, but you don't want to put patient information in there. So it's important that your team members are trained before they prompt, before they go to AI and use AI. The second thing is choosing the right partner. So this is a picture of Yankee as I was going down the escalator, and just look at the amounts of booths out there. And now it seems like every time I go to a conference, every other booth has AI somewhere on their booth. So everyone's talking about AI. Everyone's bringing this in, whether they are or not, I don't know, but it's everywhere. So before you bring in your AI partner, kind of like I talked about business versus dental wisdom, right? We need business knowledge, but we also need dental wisdom. That's the same with AI. We need somebody who understands, we need to work with a company who really understands AI, who's a technology company that has embraced AI, but also we need to work with companies who know dental. Because just because they know AI doesn't mean they know dental. And here's an example. I talked to a guy who has an AI receptionist agent, and I was asking him how he got into dental. And he told me his uncle's a dentist and he's been in dental for like 6 months and he has this AI agent to answer phones. And then in the very next breath, he said to me, "You know what I learned during all this? I didn't know there's a difference between an endodontist and an orthodontist." Okay. I don't want that AI agent answering my phones, right? So you want to make sure you work with companies that understand dentistry, that they're protecting your privacy, your patient data, that they offer real support for your teams because your teams are the ones that are going to have to work with this. And then don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. Make sure that they're doing all the things to protect you and your practices. The next thing I could say is don't start too much at once. There are companies out there right now, for me, and I'm just going to talk about front office, who talk about how they can verify insurance, answer phones, schedule patients, do reactivation care calls, do recare calls. And I believe the most important piece of technology is in your dental office that you wouldn't want to start a new employee on is your schedule, your insurance, and your phones. Like these are the three most important things we do that can ruin a patient experience if it's not handled correctly. So I talk about training humans to be good at these things before they start doing them. I would do the same thing when it comes to AI. Having an AI agent that comes in and does all this is like starting 3 or 4 new employees at once on the front desk. You wouldn't start 3 or 4 new employees and your most important thing on the front desk at the same time. Don't do it with AI. So pick something, pick one thing, pick one ball that's dropping out of the sky and say, okay, we're going to use AI for this. Once that is working and you trust it and it's working great, then you can pick off the next thing, but don't do too much at once. We learned from the AI winter, right? The next part of this is phase AI in as you learn it and it learns you, and you can start to trust it. So, for example, I just talked about phones. One of the things we suggest at Mango is that you just in the beginning have the phones answered by AI for your overflow calls, your nights and weekends. Because just like dental students got to learn from x-rays and looking at images and learn, the generative AI has got to learn your practice. How do you want questions handled? What are your hours? Is your team happy with it? Are your patients happy with it? So first, let it handle this ball, which is the 30% of calls that your office is missing. Then go to a phase two, right? With whatever AI you're working with, then go to the phase two. So the reason we even have overflow calls happening is because this is what our employees look like in the front desk. They're wearing all the hats, they're doing all the things. So phase two of AI on phones will be to let's eliminate the amount of phone calls our front office team is getting, and let's just transfer to them the revenue generating calls. So now phase two of AI would be let AI handle the incoming calls and the things that AI can handle, like I'll send you directions to the office. Yes, we're open on Saturdays, the links that need to go, and only send to the humans. The AI can send to the humans. Here are the patients that are revenue generating calls. So that way we're not, because right now when the phone rings, every call is basically handled evenly. And this salesperson does not need to have the same attention from my human employees as this potential new patient. So we need to, that would be phase two of how to have AI help your front office and the phones. The next thing is to start thinking about the future. And I'm going to show you a little video that I made, basically with the idea that we can use AI to help us scale and grow. So one of the things when you're emerging practice is that as you grow to 3, 4, 5, 10 locations, what happens is the training and the culture doesn't seem to travel well, doesn't seem to grow and go across your different practices. And that is because we don't do well at training in the dental office. We're just not good at training and educating. And the bigger we grow, the harder it is. So one of the things that I love about AI is I always talk about video training. I think adult humans learn better with video training, but trying to get the doctor or the team members in front of a video is, first of all, there's never enough time. Half the people don't like training. And then for me, with Front Office Rocks, I've made thousands of hours of videos. But as soon as I film that video, if something changes, that video is now out of date. I have to refilm it, right? So I'm excited about this, and it's still not 100%, but it's pretty darn close to do avatar video training. So when I think about out of the box thinking for the future, what I see this as is video training for onboarding employees, for your basic things, SOPs and things that you want your new team members to know, to teach culture, and then eventually to put on your website to educate patients. So I started it with this company called Synthesia that I just use avatar videos with them. I will tell you, I started playing with it 8 months ago and it was really bad 8 months ago. It's getting better. It's not perfect, but here's an example of a video that I made, just a short one to show you, to give you an idea of what to consider and look forward to in the future.
Imagine transforming your dental training with just a click. No more repetitive explanations or outdated methods. Welcome to a new era where training is as simple as pressing play. If we haven't met yet, I'm Laura, founder of Front Office Rocks, and I've spent over 20 years helping dental offices run smoother, train better, and build rockstar teams that truly love what they do. I am now helping teams learn how to do things better with AI. So when I found Synthesia, I got really excited because this platform is a total game changer for the way we communicate, train, and even onboard new team members. First off, yep, this looks and sounds a lot like me, but it's actually my AI avatar. Pretty cool, right? It lets me be in multiple places at once without ever leaving my desk or changing out of my comfy pants. With an avatar, I don't need to set up filming equipment and get locations ready. I can do it right here in the website, and the cool thing is that I can not only change locations, but also languages. Si tuviera un empleado que hablara otro idioma, entonces podría mostrarle este video en su idioma. Imagine this scenario: a new hire starts Monday. Instead of scrambling to explain the same policies or procedures for the 100th time, you just press play. Boom, on-demand training, consistent messaging, and way fewer headaches. Meet Synthesia, the revolutionary platform reshaping dental office training and communication. Say goodbye to traditional training methods and hello to consistent, engaging, and efficient learning experiences. Ready to change the game? Trust me, I know video can sound intimidating. But with Synthesia, you can produce quality video without having to deal with the setup and humans getting camera shy. Synthesia makes it ridiculously easy and fun and fast.
So I made that video in like 10 minutes. So it's not necessarily a commercial for Synthesia, though that being said, I do have a link. If you come join my Facebook group, it's buried in there somewhere. Synthesia is great. I think there's other ones also. And I also just want to let you know that I've made 4 or 5 onboarding videos that are available in the Unify platform. So if you scan there, that's where those are held or hosted. I'm not necessarily selling videos, but this is something that you could consider to do for your practices to get the basic stuff down and filmed. And the great thing about it is as your practices change and evolve, you can just change the script And the videos change. If you want to change the language, you can change the language to train or put on your website for patients who speak another language. So there's so many benefits to it. Still a little creepy, but all I had to do was film a couple of videos of me talking, and then now the videos can be made. You could do it with your avatar or with one that they have on the website. So just a little kind of futuristic, like this is not 100% there, but it's pretty darn close, and it's probably better than what we do right now when it comes to training. So my hope is during this that I kind of showed you, if you didn't know the history of AI, why it's so profound now, why we're talking about it in dental, and what is coming. We have so many opportunities to help our team members get more time back in their day so that we can offer better customer service for our patients. We can run our systems. So if you haven't embraced it yet, my hope is that you'll learn it, you'll use it, you'll lead with it, because it's been evolving for 70 years and it's finally ready now. Not 100% perfect in every case, for sure. That's where humans need to make sure everything is being managed and monitored. But the future belongs to those who develop the leaders for tomorrow. And elevating your team and embracing change and leading with vision. That is what I hope that I have given for you today and challenge you to go to the next level. So again, please feel free to follow on Facebook. I actually have a group that's called Brush Up on AI. So you can join there. You can go back. I give tips and tricks throughout the week on things. We have other people who are adding conversations about AI. That's kind of where we're having the discussions. My book is available on Amazon. Mango Voice is here to help you with Margot. We're not using migraine on the phones, but that was funny to listen to. And then if you want the top 50 things or AI tools that I think that are out there right now in 2025, you can scan this QR code and I will send it to you. And on that note, I super appreciate you spending the last hour with me. I hope I inspired you to be more open to AI or thought of some things that maybe you hadn't thought about. Feel free to share this with your team or anyone else in your practice that you think should see this. And I look forward to conversing with you in future events or on the Facebook group. So thank you and have a great day.
Thank you so much, Laura, for sharing your time and insights with us today. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. Before we wrap up, don't forget to scan the QR code on your screen to download your free guide. It's a great way to keep learning and to have something you can take back to your team right away. And if you have any questions or would like to continue the conversation, please don't hesitate to reach out to Laura. I know she'd be happy to connect and talk more. Thanks again for being here with us, and we'll see you next time.